This video is about one question. How do you live well after everything you thought was normal fell apart? Not just survive, not stay busy, but actually live your best post-pandemic life. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk through 5 keys, practical, grounded, human principles that help you rebuild with clarity instead of panic. No hype, no shortcuts, just what matters now after the world changed. And so did you. The pandemic ended, but its impact didn't. It rewired how we think about time, health, work, and meaning. Some people came out sharper. Others came out exhausted. Most are somewhere in between, functional but drifting. If you felt unmotivated, disconnected, or unsure why your old goals don't hit the same anymore, this isn't failure. It's transition. And transitions demand reflection, not speed. These 5 keys aren't rules. They're filters, ways to decide what deserves your attention and what no longer does. You won't hear about grinding harder or forcing positivity. You'll hear about focus, boundaries, energy, relationships, purpose. Each key builds on the last. So by the end, you're not just motivated, you're oriented. You know where you stand and where you're going. The world didn't just pause. It exposed things we were too busy to question. Fragile routines, borrowed certainty, lives running on autopilot. When everything stopped, what remained was honest. Some people realized how empty their days were. Others saw how little control they actually had. Beneath all of it was a question that still hasn't gone away. Is this really how I want to live? Many rushed to rebuild their old lives exactly as they were. Same stress, same exhaustion, same distractions dressed up as productivity. But the pause showed us something critical. Constant motion isn't progress. Silence isn't weakness. And slowing down doesn't mean falling behind. It means seeing clearly. Living your best post-pandemic life begins with accepting that you've changed, and that change is information, not damage. This moment is still open. You can slide back into the old version of yourself, or you can move forward with intention. The 5 keys we're about to explore are about clarity over chaos, choice over habit, and meaning over noise. Everything starts here with awareness. Let's move to the first key. The first key to living your best post-pandemic life is clarity, not motivation, not confidence. Clarity. When the world reopened, noise came rushing back. Notifications, opinions, expectations, pressure to catch up. But most people didn't regain direction. They just regained motion. Being busy feels productive, but without clarity, it's just chaos in disguise. Clarity means knowing what actually matters to you now, not what mattered before the world changed. Before the pandemic, many lives ran on default settings. Work filled the calendar. Distractions filled the gaps. Decisions were postponed because there was always later, then later disappeared. Suddenly, health mattered, time mattered, people mattered. If you're honest, some goals you once chased don't even make sense anymore. Clarity starts when you stop forcing old priorities onto a new version of yourself. You don't need better discipline. You need better questions. Ask yourself this. What drains you that you keep doing out of habit? What energizes you that you keep postponing out of fear? Chaos thrives when everything feels equally urgent. Clarity comes from ranking your life instead of juggling it. Most stress isn't caused by doing too much. It's caused by doing things that no longer align with who you are. When your actions and values are disconnected, motivation collapses. Living with clarity doesn't mean your life becomes simple. It means it becomes intentional. You say no faster. You commit slower. You protect your energy like it matters. Because it does. Clarity is what turns survival into direction. It's a foundation every other key depends on. Without it, nothing sticks. With it, progress finally feels real. Energy is your real currency. Not time, not motivation. Energy. After the pandemic, a lot of people noticed something uncomfortable. They weren't lazy. They were depleted, mentally tired, emotionally stretched, constantly on. The world came back online, but no one talked about the cost of switching ourselves back on without resetting how we live. If your energy is scattered, nothing else works no matter how clear your goals are. Before everything shut down, exhaustion was worn like a badge of honor. Sleep was optional. Rest felt earned, not necessary. The pandemic quietly exposed how fragile that mindset was. Health isn't something you squeeze into life after success. It's the system that makes success possible. Reclaiming your energy starts with respecting limits, not fighting them. Pushing harder when you're empty isn't strength. It's denial. Look at where your energy leaks. Endless scrolling that leaves you numb. Conversations that drain more than they connect. Work that never truly ends because boundaries don't exist. Energy disappears not only from effort, but from attention. Every unnecessary yes is a tax on your focus. Every ignored need eventually collects interest. You don't need more hours in the day. You need fewer things pulling at you. Living your best post-pandemic life means designing days that restore you, not just demand from you. That might mean sleeping longer, moving your body differently, spending time with fewer people but deeper presence. When energy returns, clarity sharpens and motivation follows naturally. This isn't about doing less for the sake of comfort. It's about doing what matters with strength instead of burnout. The pandemic quietly broke an old illusion that success looks the same for everyone. Titles, income, status. Those markers didn't protect anyone from loss, burnout, or uncertainty. For a lot of people, the goals they were chasing before suddenly fell hollow. Not because ambition is wrong, but because it was borrowed. Redefining success isn't about lowering standards. It's about making sure the standards are yours. Before, success was often measured in speed and visibility. How fast you moved, how busy you looked, how impressive your schedule sounded to others. When everything slowed down, many realized they were successful on paper and exhausted in reality. If the life you're building costs your health, your relationships, or your sense of peace, it's not success. It's a trade you were never meant to make. Post-pandemic success asks different questions. Do you have control over your time? Do you wake up with energy instead of dread? Are the people closest to you still close? Or did progress quietly push them away? Success now includes margin, space to think, room to breathe, the freedom to say, this is enough. When enough becomes acceptable, progress becomes sustainable. Living your best post-pandemic life means choosing a definition of success that supports your humanity, not one that competes with it. You can still aim high. You just stop aiming blindly. Success becomes quieter, steadier, more personal. And when success aligns with who you are, not who you're trying to impress, life stops feeling like a race and starts feeling like direction. The pandemic exposed something many people avoided admitting. Not every relationship was built to last. When distance became mandatory, some connections stayed strong. Others faded without effort. That wasn't random. It was information. Living your best post-pandemic life means accepting that proximity is not the same as connection. Shared space doesn't guarantee shared values. And history alone is not a reason to keep investing your energy. Before, relationships often survived on convenience. Same office, same routine, same habits. When those structures disappeared, many realized how one-sided certain connections had become. Intentional relationships don't drain you. They anchor you. They allow honesty without performance, silence without tension, growth without guilt. If you feel obligated instead of supported, something is misaligned. This phase of life asks you to choose depth over volume. Fewer conversations, more presence, fewer social masks, more truth. Not everyone needs access to you. Not everyone deserves a front row seat. Protecting your inner circle isn't selfish. It's necessary. Relationships shape how you see yourself. If you stay surrounded by people who minimize your values, you'll eventually minimize yourself. The best post-pandemic relationships feel stable, not intense. You don't have to prove your worth or explain your boundaries. There's mutual respect for time, energy, and growth. When your relationships align with who you are becoming, not who you used to be, life feels lighter. You move forward without resistance. And that changes everything. The final key to living your best post-pandemic life is purpose, but not the loud, dramatic kind people post about. Real purpose is quiet. It shows up in how you choose, not what you announce. After everything the world went through, the idea that life is guaranteed no longer holds. That awareness can either paralyze you or sharpen you. Purpose is what turns uncertainty into direction. Purpose doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means knowing what you're moving toward, even if the path changes. For some, purpose is building something meaningful. For others, it's protecting their health, family, or peace. Post-pandemic purpose is grounded. It respects limits. It evolves. It's not about chasing a future version of yourself. It's about acting from who you are right now. When you live with purpose, daily decisions get lighter. You waste less time proving yourself. You stop chasing validation that never satisfies. You focus on impact instead of appearance. Purpose gives context to effort and patience to progress. Even setbacks make sense when they serve a direction. That's why people with purpose don't panic when plans change. They adjust. The pandemic took a lot from the world. It also gave you something rare: perspective. The 5 keys: clarity, energy, success, relationships, and purpose aren't a checklist. They're a compass. You don't need to rush. You don't need to compare. You just need to move intentionally. Living your best post-pandemic life isn't about recovering who you were. It's about choosing who you become, starting now.